episode of Table for One. Chelsea Thompson, easy to say, easy name to say, divorce mediator.
Yep.
And in the past, relationship coach as well.
Yes.
So like perfect for the podcast.
Perfect for the
Yeah,
pod.
we'll get into a little bit divorce. You know, we haven't really talked about that too much. It kind of, falls in line. But basically, you see relationships end for a living. How did you get into divorce mediation?
Yeah. So I got into divorce mediation because I was dating somebody who was going through divorce, and he was telling me about how even though they had lawyers, he was like, yeah, we have to go through mediation and this is going to cost me a bunch of money. And I was like, what do you mean? You have lawyers? Like I thought that was it. And I looked into mediation and divorce mediation specifically. So Colorado has they call it the backdoor court. And if you go through a divorce in Colorado, you actually have to go through mediation at some point. So even if you have lawyers and you're doing it that way, you have to get a certificate saying that you mediated and went through that process, and then you can get divorced.
Yeah.
And so when he brought this up and I looked it up, I was like, oh, this is right in my skill set as a relationship coach. It's something that I don't particularly enjoy the entrepreneurial side of being a coach and trying to get content out there and calling everybody in my phone book. So this was a way that I could be with a law firm, and it hit all my skill sets being with people in these interesting times and helping them work through a transition. And it's all very interesting. I also just enjoy other people's drama.
Yeah,
being on
you're essentially watching a reality TV show in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you guys been like close to the finish line and it got blown up over something like very minuscule, like who was keeping the toaster or something like that?
Actually, yes. I have seen divorces go through the entire process, and then all of a sudden it's, well, I actually want the ring back. And the funny thing is so I don't tell people what to do, but it's such an interesting, like, okay, you want the ring back, but in the courts, they look at it as a gift to the marriage or a gift to that person. Yeah. So you can't actually get the ring back. But people will just be like on principle, go back on something because they're like, well,
spite.
wait a minute. Yeah. Out of spite, or they feel like that person's winning or has won. So they want to get back some sort of thing.
What's like the number one reason? I know it's not always one reason every time, but you probably see come through, somebody cheated or, other stuff. I mean, what's the number one reason people are getting divorced now?
The thing I think I've seen most is money. Okay. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about like you make more or you're not making anything or you spend wildly. It's more of they just have different ways that they view money. So you could be with somebody and they see $20,000 as security. Like this is a baseline. The other person can be like, $20,000 is freedom for me. Yeah. And so they're just not on the same page about money. And of course, there's other things like not being able to have hard conversations or kind of pushing things under the rug. But I would say mostly it's finances.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Finances. I mean, if the one guy's broke, she's making the money or that. Oh, have you ever had like a guy that she makes all the money, she, does everything and then she has to pay him out essentially?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
That happens.
I have had a case like that, and it got really interesting because during divorce mediation, you could have these side conversations and it's just one-on-one with one or both of the client or like one of the clients at a time. And they pulled me into a caucus is what it's called. And the wife goes, I'm worried about his drinking and I think he might be an alcoholic and all these things that she's concerned about. Had a caucus with him and she makes all the money. Had a caucus with him and he was like, well, the reason we're getting divorced is because she cheated on me with a coworker and I could totally blow this up if her HR department found out about it.
Oh.
And it was like, part of what I do, I don't give people any kind of like, yeah, this is going to bolster your argument, whatever. I could tell them, here's how the court's going to look at it. And in that case, it was like, okay, you could do that, but also she owes you she made $500,000 a year. He was unemployed at the time, but he could make up to about $100,000 a year. So she was paying him out in child support and for division of assets. So
his alimony check came in. And he's hitting the bar.
Yeah, and so that is really interesting to see when it's stuff like that, and it's like, well, where do you want to put your pride? And maybe that was a part of it, of that she was the higher earner, and he's maybe feeling emasculated. And it's one of those things that makes me wonder, did the alcohol, maybe if he is an alcoholic, did that come first, or was that a symptom of something else?
And what is an alcoholic really?
Yeah.
You know? The guy liked a couple 12 beers a night.
Nothing
wrong with that.
There's different cultures too that like to have a drink. You might have a drink every night. Maybe it's just one beer. That's versus going out and having 12 beers just on a Saturday. Like, what's the difference?
Is it hard to stay unbiased during these?
Oddly, no. When I first got into divorce mediation and was telling my parents about it, my dad was like, I don't think you're going to be good at this, because I wear my heart on my sleeve. And so you have to really dial it in. So I can gossip about it after, and of course not divulge any information that's recognizable, but it's not hard to put on that hat, because when you are in these hard conversations with people, it's easy to just remember, like, okay, I'm here to help you guys sort this out.
Okay.
And then of course afterwards it's like did you, like, damn, he's an alcoholic, she cheated, that's crazy.
Do you want to do a little segment since we're on the topic here? It's a segment brought to you by our sponsor. Would you be interested?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, we're going to roll the sponsor real quick. All right, and we're done. My favorite part. This segment's called Divorce or Deal with It.
Ooh.
So I'm going to give you a couple scenarios. 1 out of 10 being 10 of like how severe these actions are that'll probably lead to a divorce. And so we'll start it off. Hasn't been any funny business in the relationship, but they don't want to share each other's passwords, or the guy doesn't want to share passwords.
Oh, interesting. Okay, and so 1 is like,
it's like,
don't get divorced, not that bad. 10 is
bad.
divorce.
Could lead to divorce.
Oh, that's so tough. Off the bat, I would say 3.
Okay.
Not that big, but it would also, I would question, why do you want to know the passwords? Is there an area where you're feeling unsafe that you feel like this should be shared?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let me do, has a lot of opposite sex friends.
Oh, 1.
1.
Yeah.
Okay. Not, what if he's sleeping with all of them?
That might be a different conversation. If it's like, we're friends, we've slept together a couple of times. That might be a different scenario than just outright friends. But if you're looking at, if somebody's friends with the opposite sex, it's like, okay, if you're just friends, you can recognize that the opposite sex isn't just a sex symbol, or you don't just have to have sex with this person. You could be friends and emotionally available to one another.
I figured it out. I think you can have opposite sex friends. They just have to be like uglier than your wife. The girls would probably say, yeah, that's actually better. Like, you can't just have a smoking hot friend come in and be like, I'm hanging out,
oh my God, he's my brother. How's your mom? Then it's like,
the
fuck?
Yeah, what's going on?
Can I curse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course. Okay, like statistically, and you'll probably know what I'm talking about, but like has been previously divorced, maybe multiple. Like, what's the severity of that? I mean, there probably is statistics saying if you've been divorced before, it's more likely to get
I would say that also kind of depends on age, but I would say realistically, for me personally, that's a 1 or a 2. It also depends on how messy the divorce was, but I would say overall personal preference, let's put it at a 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Has cheated in the past.
Ooh, 6.
Okay.
It's same thing. It's
once a cheater, always a cheater. Is that
I don't think that, because I do think that there's, in different relationships, your needs might not be getting met. There's also, some people might consider cheating if you guys are on a break or something like that. But I don't think it's an ender, but it's definitely a yellow flag to be like, well, okay, let me not fully jump in, and like we could talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. What if like he was on a break, but she wasn't?
10. 10. Yeah.
Isn't that a Friends episode? We were on a break or something like that. Have completely different political and religious viewpoints.
Ooh, that's a good one. 5.
Okay. You can still make it work then.
I definitely think you can make it work.
50% chance. Though.
I mean, I don't know if you guys want me to go into stories about this, but I was actually dating somebody here in Denver, and we like checked the boxes for one another, had a great time together. He had great friends, I had good friends, and we all got along. And we ended up talking about politics and politics overseas, and we had very different views. And that in that conversation for me, that was like I was like, nope, I can't have.
You got to have this conversation.
Yeah, like I can't have kids with somebody who if this is the way that you think. But I don't think it's big to be like, people identify themselves as Democrats, Republicans. And I don't think that it's impossible to meet in the middle somewhere, or just be like, yeah, you might be fiscally conservative and socially liberal or whatever. I think that all those things can be talked about. It matters more depending on if you want to have kids and how you would raise them. Right. But I think in the end of the day, you just want to be a good person. Right. So politics, I would say for some, 5. Yeah, for some people it's going to be a game ender. For other people, it's going to be like, we could just talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got a friend who he's married, very healthy marriage, and they're on the opposite sides of politics. And I mean, I think it helps that they're both great people, but they just don't ever talk about it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it works for them.
Yeah, and I think that's okay too, because it's in politics you could get into this whole big worried about the world, but sometimes, especially in your marriage or relationship, your world can be smaller than that. So it's like if you're on the opposite side, like, yeah, we don't need to talk about it because you're not out here donating to campaigns that I really don't believe in or whatever. You just might have this concept, or you think that this is more just or right or moral than I do, and that's fine.
Shows up on a first day with a MAGA hat. Just kidding. The sex is bad, or lack of sex.
8.
8.
I would put that high. And because I do think, because sometimes it's not just about sex. Sometimes it's about that closeness or being able to communicate. I mean, I've been in relationships where the sex was bad to start, and then you like either get into a groove or you become better communicators with one another, learn one another more, and then sex gets better. So I would say off the bat, if sex is bad, like maybe 1, 2, but if you're in a relationship, an 8, because that's when people will start to cheat, go elsewhere, because we all want to feel wanted in our relationship. We like to feel sexy and hot. Like it feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good. Yeah, you want to be wanted. So I think that that's important. And if you have a low sex drive and you're then being with somebody that also has a low sex drive, I think is more likely to work out than.
So, I mean, it's just not going to work out if somebody has a low sex drive and the other person has a high sex drive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard that? Oh, she doesn't ever want to sleep with me. I don't feel wanted. Or,
yep.
Yeah.
I have heard that a lot. Yeah. And,
you should put that in the prenup. It's like we got to have sex.
You could put whatever you want in your prenup and your agreements. You could also get a post-nup. So after you get married and, if people are trying to figure it out, you can get a post-nup.
And some guys heard like, oh, she gains 20 pounds after the first baby or something like that. Yep. Do you see shit like that? Or
I have seen, not in divorce mediation. I've seen it with friends, but it's also, if you have kids, women's bodies change, and at some point women might be like, well, now you just want, like, my body's being used as like a cow because I'm breastfeeding this child, and now my body is more of a utility than sexual.
Okay.
Don't get me canceled. But it's like then you might not be feeling sexy because your body has changed or you have gained weight, but that I have seen that become so important to guys to be like, yeah, well, she like gained all this weight. I still want her, but she doesn't want herself, and that can be a really hard hurdle to get over.
Right.
women are cows, men are pigs.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful.
We're all on a farm.
Yeah.
We're all just hanging out in our own shit, you know?
Okay, you started a new show with your partner, but you finished the show without her.
I have done this a lot. 2. 1, 0.
That's a 10.
I
That's a 10.
did.
You watch it with me. Yeah, we started together. You have to watch it with me. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Past trauma. Okay. What are some signs you can see when a couple is heading towards a divorce? You know, the red flags.
Ooh, that's a great question. It is if there's more bad days than good, and if there's a drop off in communication. Like there's going to be times where you're not on the same page for maybe a day, a couple of days, maybe even like a couple of weeks if there's a lot going on. Maybe you lost a family member, something's happening. But if it's consistent, you're on different pages and you're having more bad days than good, bounce. That's probably going to end it because or unless you're doing the work to come back together.
Yeah.
But I actually did have some clients that came to us, to my law firm, and at first they were like, we want to get divorced. We want to have a conversation about it. And we got into a conversation, and it turns out they didn't actually want to get divorced. They wanted to work through their differences, and they wanted actually more of couples coaching as opposed to let's go through the divorce.
Yeah.
They kind of started getting in that divorce process, and we're like,
well,
wait a minute. Yeah. Like, well, wait a minute. Like, let's actually see if we could repair this before we get to that point.
I mean, can a lot of relationships, you think, be saved if they just tried a little bit harder, or is sometimes there's no way?
There's some relationships that they're going to be like, there's just no way. But I do think that there are some relationships that can be saved with radical honesty, communication. And radical honesty, I mean that with yourself first, with one another, with where you're at. And then that communication is so key to be able to have these uncomfortable conversations, bring in a third party, a therapist, a coach, bring in somebody else if you need to. It doesn't guarantee that it's going to save the relationship, but I do think that especially now we could just swipe on people, right? You have all these people available to you. So it's like, well, I'm just going to go.
Yeah. Like what's the relation with social media now that ties into divorce? I mean, there's got to be more divorce now because of social media, do you think, or no?
I would say yes with an asterisk to it. Because there's definitely, you can compare your relationship to everybody else's relationship now. And of course, people are only posting the good stuff. You're not posting when you guys are screaming at each other or one person sobbing and the other person doesn't give a shit. So you can compare your relationship to other relationships a lot. And it also could just make you feel insecure if your partner is following a bunch of Instagram models and you're like, well, I don't look like any of these people. So like, are you actually even into me? It can make you feel insecure, question yourself. So social media has definitely changed the landscape of relationships.
Right. So widely available.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty wild. Like Instagram has essentially turned into a dating app as well.
Yeah. Have you guys ever slid into somebody's DM and it actually turned out to be a date? Or maybe them to yours?
I'm not a big DMer, but it's happened.
Yeah. That is like just another way to like reach out to people. I'm always so curious, like, how does that even happen?
I'll get DMs and but it's like I don't like what you're across the way, you know, like you're all the way across the country. That's not trying to mess around with that too much, and you know we got women here, you know.
Top tier women in Denver. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But I don't like. I mean, like I'll go through my requests and stuff like that because sometimes there's like people wanting you to do stuff for work and stuff like that.
Sure.
Like brands, but I rarely, unless it's like somebody nice, like doing whatever. Hey, when are you gonna host a singles event or something like that?
I slid into your DMs.
Yeah, well, like, of course.
Gang.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah,
it worked.
Yeah,
there you go.
It did work. Yeah, thank you for coming on. Okay, well, so how important is resentment in the breakdown of a relationship?
Ooh, that is very key. I always like to say, and I heard it, I don't even know how many years ago, but unspoken expectations lead to hidden resentments. And that's resentments will just build over time if you're not talking about them. And it could be, I mean, if you think about it, it could be something so simple in the moment where you're like, hey, you didn't put the toilet seat down and that made me really upset. Or in the middle of the night, I fell into the toilet when I went to the bathroom.
It's funny.
Right. And maybe that happened, and maybe the person's out of town or something, or you just don't say it and you just want to sit there and stew on it. And when you're stewing on it, you start making up these other stories in your head. Well, you could also look at, well, they also left the dirty dishes in the sink. And you could start, that resentment will just build and build and build. So if you're not constantly talking about things, the big and the little, I think that building resentment that resentment will end you.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. So like about communication, like the biggest communication mistake you see couples make.
Oof. I would switch this back to when people are in the dating stage. And then I'll talk about divorce in a second. But when you're in the dating stage, what I see is people aren't talking about finances. It's not just a matter of, and it's not just a matter of finances. Yeah, but it's, you might be like, well, do you want kids? And then you're like, okay, great. It's not just about that. It's also about, well, what happens if this person's career takes priority? What if one person is stay at home? What if one person makes 3 times what the other person makes? Like, what is going to be fair and equitable for your relationship? And in divorce, what I've seen the breakdown come down to is in communication is it's actually those resentments that come back up, and they're just anger at this point. And so it's just like you don't want to communicate with this person because you're mad at them, and they might not know why you're even mad at them. But I've had a couple going through divorce where one of the spouses was trying to be nice and say, hey, like, no, you could have the extra $4,000 from this account. I think that's what we talked about, and that seems fair. And then the other person came back and was like, don't put words in my mouth. And it's like, well, okay. That's
fine, I'll take it.
like that's a breakdown in communication, because you're interpreting what this person's saying as an attack, but it's not. She's actually trying to be nice to you.
Yeah. It's I feel like that's super hard too when you have like animosity or anger to even have a good, healthy flow of conversation there
right
too, and things get muddied up real fast. I'm sure.
Real fast, yeah.
Why is it hard? Like, when people are arguing, right? It's never about the root cause.
Yep.
Yeah. Why is that so hard?
Never. Yeah. What I've seen is it's even I've seen in divorces where people are arguing about $5,000, where it's like, in the grand scheme of things, like $5,000, like your whole estate is worth 1.5 million, and now you guys are down to this $5,000. It's people are just so afraid to say what it's actually about, to state their piece and say, it's actually really about, it's on principle, because I feel like I have given my heart and soul to this relationship, or I feel like I could have taken off in my career, but I put that to the side for you, for this relationship. It seems like it's a lot of that, like people feeling undervalued, and it comes out in these other ways, because people aren't talking about, here's what I need, here's what I want. And so you get in these fights about this other shit that might not even really, that's not even really what it's about. And we're so afraid to say what it's actually about, or look inside and be like, oh shit.
Yeah. And I think the world would be a much easier place if it was that easy, though. You know?
Right.
It can't be. Who gets nastier, the men or the women?
I have seen a lot of the men get nastier. And I wouldn't even say it's actually, it's such an interesting question. It's not the men getting nastier in sense of like being mean. I've seen men get nastier when it comes to actually finances, and to be like, well, I have like accumulated this and she didn't really put into this or whatever. So I've seen them get nastier when it comes to finances and money and who gets what in that capacity, and a little bit more nitpicky. But I have seen the women get nasty when it comes to like an attack on somebody's character.
Yeah.
I have
They love to do that.
Yeah, I have
It goes straight there too.
Right. I have rarely seen men attack a woman's character. It's more of like about, financial stuff, but I have seen a few women attack the their ex-partners or soon to be ex-partners
Give me an example.
character.
Give me an example.
Yeah. So I had this couple and they were relatively fine when we were in the room with one another, and then they both wanted to have a caucus. And of course, that's when the wife was like, God, how do I say this? I don't even know if I could say it eloquently. She was like, basically like, he's a bitch. Like, it's not my responsibility to help him feel like a man, and just started like
tearing him
down. And of course I just sit there and listen. Like, it's not my business.
I could sit in on some of this. It's so funny.
They are so interesting.
Yeah.
It's so interesting, and listening to these people tear in. And granted, sometimes mediation can feel like a therapy session, so to speak, because they're getting it all out, and I'll listen. Because I listen for the bits that are actually going to help them move along in their divorce. Otherwise, it's just the tea is hot.
Tea is hot. Yeah.
That
should be a new TV show. That's a divorce mediator.
That would be good. It would be. I think it would be so interesting. Yeah, for people to look at the end of relationships and like what's
be on Bravo, TLC, whatever.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
So I was looking at marriage and divorce rates and was seeing that the decade 15 to 24 had the highest rate. Do you have a lot of young couples come in?
I have some young couples. I've actually, it's probably about 50-50 with my young couples versus my older couples. And for young, I would say it's people that are under 40. Under 30, I've only had maybe, or like early 30s, I would say I've maybe had about a handful of clients. But yeah, actually a lot of my clients have been in their like 60s, which is very interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have a theme of like marriage length? Like, are there more people who are been married less than 5 years or more?
Oh, no, it's really all over the place. It is. I've had couples that have been married. I would say the shortest amount of time has been about 3.5 years.
Yeah.
And the longest amount of time of clients that I've had has been about 35 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is an interesting range, but I do have to say, I feel like the couples that are older that I've divorced, they're so sweet to each other and on the same page that it almost makes their divorces sadder.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh,
Well,
but you guys get along so, you guys get along so well. What do you mean? But I hope they're out there getting some strange or doing whatever makes them happy.
The retirement home.
Yeah.
Getting a disease or something.
That's don't STDs like flourish in retirement.
That's where I get mine from.
Hot.
Okay. All right, next question. Here we go. What are the chances a marriage can actually recover from infidelity?
Oh, I think it can absolutely recover from infidelity.
Yeah.
In my personal opinion, I have, I would say the majority of the couples that I have divorced, there hasn't been a ton of infidelity, but I think that people could definitely bounce back because it's a matter of going back to the basics and like, let's have a conversation, like let's have the hard conversation as to why you stepped out, like what was going on, what needs of yours aren't being met, are you not feeling wanted? I do think that there is a way to come back from that. I would say it's probably, in my opinion, it's probably easier for girls than it would be for men because I feel like you guys would be more like, I can't imagine my girl with somebody else.
Yeah. That's why I feel like men go and cheat, like kind of can be emotionless sometimes.
Right.
And then women, it's more emotional.
Usually, it's more like just a physical thing for guys. You guys are like, I want to get my rocks off.
Yeah. Another Instagram model.
For women. But it could also then, to that same effect, it could also be a lot more insidious for women where I think that women can cheat without even recognizing it because we're maybe emotionally attached to somebody else And we're like, oh no, like this is my friend. But there might be a level of intimacy there that maybe your partner wouldn't approve of.
Yeah. I'm sure. I mean, like, at work or whatever, especially I feel like nurses too, you're constantly around all that. And it's a high rate of cheating.
Yep.
Yeah. Amen, brother. Okay. What are some green flags, for a healthy relationship?
Yeah, I think green flags, especially when you're dating and out there in the world, green flags to look for would be somebody who isn't, actually, let me not go into the negative, somebody who is talking either positively about their exes, or like if that comes up, I mean, if they're constantly talking about their ex, that might be something a bit weird. Yeah. But if they talk positively about their exes, they can say what they've learned from relationships. If they have good friendships, whether that be with the same sex, opposite sex, I think if people have a good friend group, that's such a green flag to look for. Because it also helps you picture, like, okay, if we're together and these are now my friends too, like, are these good people? Are these people that I trust my partner with and trust to hold my partner to good moral standards? I also think it's a green flag to have good hobbies. That people aren't just focused in on like, okay, what's this person doing? Yeah. It's like, if you have your own hobbies,
their hobbies can't be you.
Their hobbies can't be you. That can get very tedious unless you're both like codependent, and then it's like, yeah, great, have fun,
can't
enjoy.
Go anywhere without it.
Yeah. I also think a green flag is just communication and honesty, like upfront. I dated somebody before that he was upfront and he was like, hey, I'm moving to Canada and this isn't like, I'm not necessarily looking for long term. And I was like, you know what? That's cool for me. But I also had to recognize, like, I am also not going to try and change what you have already upfront told me. And I'm cool with that too, at least for now. So I think that just like that honesty and like what somebody's looking for is such a green flag.
What the fuck's in Canada?
Family, but yeah, that was a fun relationship. It was just like one of those things. It was just like, yeah, then let's just have fun. Like if we both know what this is and you've communicated super well, and it doesn't take away from
he didn't
spending
communicate
time
at all. He's like, I got to move to Canada.
Yeah, if it was just like, yeah, well, I'm moving in 2 months,
I got a flight,
so
actually.
I gotta go. Yeah, then it would be like, all right, well, what the fuck?
Yeah, right.
But yeah, just like being upfront and honest, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. Do you think people are getting married to each other before they actually know their partner?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I think that people are getting married without and just thinking about, right, like everybody wants to have a wedding, but nobody wants to be married kind of trope of you see other people doing this and it seems really fun and it seems lighthearted.
I've never heard that. That's very
really?
interesting.
Yeah, but it's like everybody wants to get married, but everybody wants to have a wedding, but nobody wants to be married, because it's like once you get married, especially in the eyes of the state or the law, it's like, okay, now things change, at least financially. You're kind of more like business partners. You're also, people are getting married without fully knowing one another because maybe somebody's holding back. Maybe they're afraid to put their worst foot forward because they've just been putting their best foot forward and that's all you see. Or maybe they're waiting for that kind of, I've seen people be in a gotcha moment of like, yep, we're married now, and now I want to open up the relationship. And it's like, whoa, what?
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier. That was the worst nightmare.
Right. Like, what do you mean? Like, you can't just be with one person. Like, I thought we were on the same page about these things.
Trying to sleep with my coworker over here,
Yeah, but it's also, I
not
think.
Not this coworker.
Yeah, you wish.
Yeah. But I also do think that it's also people are getting married without having those hard conversations to figure out, like, are we actually on the same page about everything? There's a great book, and I forget who the author is, called Love and Practicalities. And it's very interesting, even just to read on your own or read with a partner or somebody maybe that you start dating that you like. And it's essentially a list of just questions that goes through, like, okay, what happens if like Nana dies and Like, or you want to be closer to your family, or if we get a pet, are you okay with turtles? I'm allergic to fish. That's weird. But yeah, like it just kind of like goes through those things. But I do think people are getting married without really knowing one another, and then you're gonna find out at some point.
And did you see the drama? The movie, The Drama?
Loved it.
Good, wasn't
yes,
it?
it was so good.
Yeah.
That one friend was a bitch.
Yeah, she was. I'm like,
her.
all right, cut her some slack. She's like, even though that's a terrible thing to do, I think I got over it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's.
Well, it was such an interesting look at relationships because it was like, maybe without the pressure of the wedding and the friends knowing, maybe Robert Pattinson's character could have gotten past what Zendaya did, even though she didn't really do anything.
Yeah, because she didn't, but she was.
Yeah, but it was like there's all this pressure now of like, well, do I know you? And oh my God, like you almost shot up a school. And it's like, well, she didn't actually do. And she went the other way, but you have this wedding breathing down your neck now that you feel pressured to like, well, we can't be on opposite ends of the spectrum when we're saying our vows. And then they were, and hopefully it ended up having, that was really good.
Yeah. Anyway, good movie. Sorry, we're talking about movies now. Okay. Well, I mean, okay. Because you mentioned like finances is a big one, kids, like just making sure you get that out in the open early on. So there's nothing that bites you in the ass kind of down the road. Like safest route to deal with finances. Are you thinking that's combining them, split bank accounts? What is, or do you see multitudes that are like different?
I have seen multitudes of that. And the interesting thing that people might not know is in Colorado, the state of Colorado, it's an equal and equitable state. So even if you keep your accounts separate, if you end up going through a divorce, guess what, baby? It's marital. So it doesn't necessarily matter if they're separate. But I think it's an important conversation to have because I have some clients that they have always kept everything separate and they're totally fine with that. Yeah, they're totally fine with that. I think it's more of a matter of talking about whether it's separate or not, talking about the lifestyle that you both want and talking about, what are your spending habits, that kind of thing. And especially when you're dating, sometimes that might not come up. And I know, all over the internet, girls are like, men should be paying for this. I'm not going 50-50. But I do think that that's, it shouldn't necessarily just be a blanket thing. It should just be more of like if your expectation is that he pays for everything, great. Maybe let him know that up front. At least for me, I was always like, I'm ready to pay for myself if that's the case. It's a first date. Who knows? It could go topsy-turvy, whatever. But then thereafter, like my boyfriend now, I told him, I was like, look, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. I was like, I want to work because I enjoy what I do. I don't want to have to work. And he, we've talked about that and he's totally fine with it. But I think I said that I'm also kind of a psycho. I think I said that on like our first or second date and he's just like, okay,
good to get it
takes
out there.
It in stride. Takes it in stride. But I think it's just more about like, okay, what are your like spending habits, that kind of thing. Because if you do go the long haul and you do get married, it's all marital asset anyways, so it doesn't matter if it's separate.
Okay, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Why do otherwise rational people become completely irrational during breakups?
I think they don't know where to put their emotions. I've seen it in divorce where I've had these couples come in our initial consultation where I've talked them through like what's going to happen. Here's what it looks like. Here's how I'm going to help you. And they're amicable. They're on the same page. They're like, yeah, this sounds great. And then we get to their financial picture. And now this is where they're letting their emotions come out in the money talk, or if they feel slighted or if they feel hurt. Am I answering your question? No, I just feel like I'm,
Yeah, I mean, like what separates, I guess, the people that are very cordial and respectful to the people that aren't.
Yeah, it's, I think it's their ability to function under pressure or under conflict.
Okay.
And I think you could look at that. That's where a lot of breakdown happens when they're going through divorce. I think that's where a breakdown can happen before you even get to that point, is how is somebody handling the conflict? Because that's where it could come out, where you're getting angry, whatever. And if they're able to handle that pressure in conflict, I think it'll be fine and amicable. But otherwise, you do see people. It's just if they're trying to kind of like put the top on the bottle, it starts to seep out.
Yeah.
Do you advise prenups? Because I guess I see how they could be necessary, but I don't know. I've also heard the take like prenup, you're essentially just preparing for your marriage to fail.
I disagree with that, but I disagree with that now being a divorce mediator because I have seen it both ways. It can make things cleaner and just set your future agreements with one another when you're in a clear headspace to have a prenup. And, people are like, well, we don't need a prenup. We have love. And it's like,
love.
I think that it's a part of that bigger, more important conversation, because it's like, well, if you are in love, if somebody asks you to sign a prenup because maybe they have family money or whatever, then if you're in love with them, then great. Like you should be able to be like, cool, like let's sign away. Like that's not a problem, because I don't think it's going to come to this. But it sounds like also what you're saying is like, right, people might start to think like, well, if we have a prenup, you're just setting it up for failure. I think that you're just looking ahead when your cooler head is prevailing. I was engaged before, and me and my ex-fiance actually got in a huge fight over this, and it's hilarious because he had a civil engineering firm that he started from the ground up, was doing really well with it. I didn't have shit. I didn't own shit. And I was like, we should get a prenup. So in case anything happens, you could protect yourself. And he's like, why the fuck would we get a prenup? Like it ended up being an argument because I said that he should protect himself. Yeah. But it's like, it's just right now, like while we're talking about it, cooler heads can prevail. Like, you could talk about things then. You could also get a postnup. But I think that it's setting a foundation to just be like, hey, at least we're on the same page. Or if there's certain things that you want to protect in the off chance, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen like people really trying to hurt their partner, by taking something they really loved? Mm-hmm. It's not even, it's just more sentimental to the woman or the guy.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, I have seen couples where
that's gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Where somebody's like, well, I think that we should have this furniture valued, and the other person's like, well, that's like heirlooms. Like it's not. It's like kind of invaluable to me. Like it's not something that I'm just gonna sell. But they're being pokey and proddy about it because they're like, I want to pay you as little money as possible. Mm-hmm. So I want that asset to live in your world, but I want to be paid out for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is
like his favorite recliner. It's like
it could get very nitpicky.
Yeah. You could take the dogs. I'm good. We're good. Yeah. I'll say I want the dogs, and you're gonna be like no, and then I'll be like, you can have them.
I have seen. Have you guys ever seen somebody do like they break up and they'll like split custody of the dog?
I have seen that actually. I've heard of that. That's the hardest part is the dogs though,
That's what,
not the
I was
kids.
actually on a date with a girl who was going through a breakup, and she on the date got in this huge fight over the dog, and it just completely ruined the date. Oh, didn't see her again.
You're like the red flag. You're like, no, thank you. Yeah, I would say
it was a fresh breakup. So.
Fair. Yeah, I would say if you're sharing custody, back to your scale, if you're sharing custody of a dog, for me, I'm like, that's a 10. That's a not. We're not. Yeah. I'm not even starting with you if you're sharing custody of a dog.
The dog smells like another guy. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay. That would piss me off. She's spraying guy cologne on it and then bringing it back to your house.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's funny. Okay.
On that, what about kids? That's got to be the messiest split, I would assume.
It can get very messy. It is. I have actually seen it. I've seen it work out in the end very well, because that is like the one space where, at least if you like disagree fully on finances and all this kind of stuff, no matter what, across the board, I've seen people just want their kids to have the best life that they can. Sometimes that does mean that one party is like, well, I don't want to pay you child support because then that might put me in a bind. But it's kind of nice. Kids, oddly enough, seems like the lower barrier thing for couples to get through. It's like the easier thing for them to get through. Now, when we're going through divorce mediation and we're talking about kids, and I'm writing up there what we call a memorandum of understanding, and that's like fleshed out their agreements. There is a section where you can put in about introducing them to new partners and what that looks like, and that could get really sticky for people who are going through divorce. They could be like, well, I don't want you indefinitely to introduce my kids to another person. And you're like, okay, well, that's not maybe realistic, but
right.
But people can outline that in their divorce.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's super interesting. Our buddy Jordan, he's got like a rule, like he won't introduce his partners to a kid until like months and months down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's probably pretty
it does.
normal, right?
Yeah. When you're like, especially when you're dating, I've dated people with kids before and have taken the time to, especially if you're the person dating somebody else and the other person's the one with kids, you really kind of have to go by their schedule, and because they know their kids best. They know like how it's gonna kind of wind you in and acclimate. Yeah, you can't like day one. I have seen people go on dates and like meet the person's kid within the first like month or two, and it's like, bro, you don't even know if you're gonna be around this person forever. Like that could be, you guys could end in 2 months and you've already met the kid. That's crazy.
Yeah. Tough for the kid.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's
got 8 new mommies.
Yeah.
Got a different mom every month.
Right. Which I'm sure dogs might feel the same way. You never know. Yeah. Right? You're doing the trade-off.
This might not be in your wheelhouse. Well, I guess relationship coach, right? So, but like biggest mistake people make like immediately after the breakup.
People immediately going back and think that things are going to change.
Okay.
It's not necessarily that like people can't break up and get back together. But I've seen people break up and then they think within like, well, I miss this person. And within like a month or two, they're back together. But it's like, but nothing's changed. Like you haven't worked on yourself. It's not like magically communication is better. Like there was something that broke you up, something that you were unhappy with. And maybe if you've worked through it either on your own with like a therapist or just done deep work on yourself or did some self-reflection and then come to the person and have that conversation. People just think like, otherwise you're just getting back into the same relationship. And it's like, why? Yeah. Why do that?
Just comfortable probably. And they think they're going to do better. And then it obviously doesn't.
Yeah.
So, okay. Last question. Mm-hmm. What's the best relationship lesson you've learned from watching couples go through divorce?
The best lesson.
Narrow it down to one. It's kind of a hard question.
That is because it's I'm like, well, this and this and this. Yeah. I would say the best lesson is to show up fully as yourself, allow the other person to show up as themselves, and allow that other person space to change. And hopefully they can allow you space to change too. Because I have just seen people be like, you get married when you're 30. Who you are when you're 30 might not be who you are when you're 35 or 40. And people don't allow the other person the space to like change their mind and have new things become important. And so I think that that's a lesson that I've seen in divorce is that sometimes people hold on to these expectations of who they want someone to be and not just let them be and love them for that. So that's a big lesson, I think, to that I've taken away, just to allow people love the person for who they are, and they're probably going to grow, and allow them that space.
Yeah, you can't constantly try to change them
to
mold.
No, I've done it. I'm sure a lot of women, we do it. We're like, I can change him. Yeah. And it's like, no, you can't. And that's okay. Yeah. But like, you're just going to bang your head against the wall if you think you can try to change somebody or get them to care about the things that you care about. You just have to figure out what your boundaries are and keep it pushing.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's great advice. That was a really good answer. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good answer.
Where can people find you? You good? You good on? Where can people find you?
Yeah, so I work out of a law firm in Boulder called Conscious Family Law Firm. So you could reach out to me there. I don't know if I can give you guys the information for show notes or whatever.
I guess we can look up, right? Maybe the law firm, put it down at the bottom.
Yeah, I have cards. But so you could reach out to me there. I have nothing about divorce mediation on my Instagram, but I'm on Instagram as Chelsea Chomp. So people can reach out. I have people that reach out to me that are friends going through divorce or just having relationship problems that are like, if I were to.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. That's
Where do I start?
A call that you're like,
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
super insightful.
thanks for having me.
Super insightful.
I appreciate it.
And fun too.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
You guys are great.
Yeah, no.
Isaac, a man of many words.
Yeah.
Huge fan.
Yeah.
I've got a few more for you later.
Sweet.
What other words? What are you going to yell at her?
No. What do you think about the weather? What's your favorite color?
You said it in a way.
Yeah, I did say that weird.
Yeah, I thought.
Love the heat. Clear.
I got something else for you later. That's how you said it. She's got a boyfriend, dude.
Sorry.
It's all right. We can talk about Mission Ballroom later, I promise.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. I
honestly great.
appreciate you guys.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
We're done.
Like and subscribe.